What are you guys saying, Z community cuties? As you guys can tell by today's title of the video, we're going to be talking about a very important concept which is revolving all around net worth. Now, net worth is extremely important because it serves as a benchmark as to where you should be within your financial journey. So what we're going to be talking about today is what exactly is net worth and how to figure this out, how to find out what your net worth should be, along with some tips to actually increase your net worth. So without further ado, let's get this party started. Now, step number one, what is your net worth and how should you calculate it? Now, this point is coming out of a place of passion because a few months back, I was talking to one of my friends who was so-called bragging about his net worth. So I was like, yo, you know what? Like, that's pretty impressive. So I started questioning him about it. I'm like, okay, dude, what are your liabilities? What are your assets? Like, I tried to figure out what this net worth really was. After we actually both went through this together, I ended up calculating that his net worth was actually negative. And when I tried to actually bring this up to him, we kind of got in a little back and forth, but at the end of the day, he's still my homie. So if you're watching this, I still love you, my guy. And that's why we're making this video, so that you guys can actually understand how to actually calculate net worth and figure out what that looks like for you. So in order to actually calculate what your net worth is, there are two important things that you need to know: your total assets and your total liabilities. What the hell are these? I'm about to break these down for you. Assets are investments such as real estate, your stock portfolio, your little crypto thing going on with Coinbase, or just cold hard cash overall. So if you have some savings accounts, if you have some emergency funds that just kind of piling up there, you would add this on to your total assets. So, make a list of all of these different assets, add them all together, and this will actually give you your total assets. Liabilities, on the other hand, are things that are actually holding you back from having a high net worth. And when it comes down to liabilities, some of these common ones can include mortgages, student loans, credit card debt, and so on. Now, just a little quick tip before we go any deeper within liabilities. I usually see that some places such as banks will consider your car to be an asset, but really I like to say that it's more of a liability, because at the end of the day, it's a depreciating asset, meaning that its value will just keep going down lower and lower and lower, and at the end of the day, you keep putting money into it, whether that's for maintenance, repairs, gas. So I really look at a car as more of a liability than it is an asset. Unless you're in the business of car flipping, or you buy a car, you repair it, or you just upgrade it and then flip it for profit, then it's an asset. Otherwise, it's a liability. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. But aside from that, do the exact same thing as you did for your assets, but with your liabilities. So this time, kind of list out every single liability that you have, add it up, and this will give you your total liabilities. So now that you know what your total liabilities and your total assets are, what you're going to do to find out what your net worth is that you are going to take your total assets and then subtract your total liabilities. Whatever this number ends up giving you, that is actually what your net worth is. And it might be surprising for some of you, or it might be shocking for others, but at the end of the day, this is what your genuine net worth is. So be sure you note that down and put it on, just keep it in mind, okay? So let's just take a very simple example where you have a stock portfolio along with some cryptocurrency, a real estate property, and you've got an emergency fund set on the side. Let's just say, adding all of these numbers up, it totals up to $1 million. But on the other hand, you still have student loans to pay off, and on top of that, you also have a mortgage to pay off as well. So let's just say that this amount adds up to $250,000. So in this type of situation, we know our total assets are $1 million and our total liabilities are $250,000. Now, how are we gonna find our net worth out from here? Well, all you're gonna do is really just take $1 million, subtract $250,000, and this is going to give you your golden net worth. In this case, $750,000. And I do know that these types of things are hard to calculate because you have to factor in a couple of things and whatnot. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually linking a free net worth calculator in the description below. So be sure to check it out, calculate what your net worth is, and let me know what you guys think. So now you're in a situation where you actually know what your net worth is. I know, you're just at the beginning, but now you have to have a feel of where you should be or where you need to be. And this is where we're going to talk about determining your target net worth. Now, obviously, everybody has their own little calculation as to how to find out what their target net worth is going to be. But after going through a bunch of different calculations, I feel like this one really made the most sense. And the best part is I'm going to be giving you two types of target net worths. Now, the first target net worth that we're going to go through is to find out where you should be within your specific age group. The other type of target net worth that we're going to look at is where your net worth would need to be the 1% of your specific age group. Now, there are two things that you need to know in order to figure out what these target net worths are. And the first thing is your age, obviously. And the second one, your gross annual income. So essentially how much you make total throughout the year before taxes, before expenses, before all that yada yada. By the way, speaking of taxes, if you're trying to find out a way to actually reduce the amount that you pay on your paychecks, be sure to check out the video that you'll see in one of these corners. It'll give you a pretty nice tip if you live in Canada and you want to reduce that, so check that out. So let's start off with the first target net worth, where you should be within your specific age group. What you're going to do, pretty simple and straightforward formula. You're going to take your age and then you're going to multiply it by your gross annual income. So how much you make in total throughout the year without taxes, without any of that stuff. Once you figure out that calculation, what I want you to do next is actually divide that number by 10. For example, you make $50,000 a year from your 9-to-5 job, and then you make an additional $25,000 a year from your day trading or options trading or whatever your side hustles may be. This means your total gross income would be $75,000 because $50,000 from the 9-to-5 and $25,000 from the trading. On top of that, let's just say that you're 21 years old. So to find out what our target net worth would be for a 21-year-old, you would take 21 years of age and then multiply that by $75,000. But wait, there's more. You also have to divide it by 10. Doing this calculation, you end up finding out that your target net worth should be $157,000. So if you're a 21-year-old right now racking in about $75,000 a year, are you at this 157K, or is your net worth a little bit less than that? This is a nice little baseline for you to kind of be in the yo, like I'm safe, I'm chillin' type of vibe. And lastly, let's actually determine what your net worth would have to be for you to be in the top 1% of your age group. Now, this one is a pretty simple calculation because all you have to do is take the net worth that you just calculated right now. So let's just say that same $157,000, and all you do is just multiply it by 2. That's literally it. I kid you not, it's that simple. So as a 21-year-old who's bringing in $75K every single year, in order for you to be in the top 1% of 21-year-olds, you have to make sure that your net worth is anywhere between $315,000 and $316,000. To be honest, I did not do the calculations off the top of my head, so I don't know what the number is, but I do know it's within that range, so try to aim for that target net worth over there. And I just wanted to leave off with a couple of tips to actually increase your net worth in case you did this calculation and you found out, hey, like my net worth isn't even close to this target. So here's a couple of things that I personally have done which have skyrocketed my net worth. So take some notes. So the first tip that I can probably give you guys right now is tracking your inflows and your outflows. What I mean by this is track in the income that you get and track in whatever you spend. Even if it's on the smallest thing, you're buying a pack of gum, you're buying a freaking Gatorade, I don't care what it is, make sure that each and every single one of your purchases throughout the month is documented, my G. Another tip that I would use along with tracking your inflows and your outflows is reviewing this on a consistent basis. Whether that be once a week, once a month, once every 2 weeks, just make sure that you're staying on top of the game so that you can look at what you're spending and be like, hey, you know what? I don't need to be spending this much for gum, or I don't need to be spending this much for that bottle of Gatorade. Essentially, you're gonna be competing with yourself to be like, you know what? This month I spent $20 on coffee. Next month, I'm gonna try to aim for like 18 or 17. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's just an example. And at the end of the day, every single dollar counts, especially if it's being allocated towards your net worth. So this is very, very important. Another tip for y'all still in the student struggle, paying off those student loans. such as myself, then I would actually recommend to pay off these student loans ASAP. At the time of recording this video, right now, the Canadian federal government has actually put a pause on interest. So this is actually your opportunity to pay off your student loans a little bit more faster. Even if it's shaving off 6 months, 1 year, it's still something. There's actually a couple of ways that you can pay off your student loans super fast. And I've actually made a video about this in the past. So check it out and let me know if you have any questions about how to pay off those student loans ASAP. And the last tip that I'm going to share with you guys in order to increase that net worth, pay yourself first. Once you get that paycheck, once you get, that residual income coming in, you want to make sure that you're allocating that to investments. Whether you're putting it into your TFSA, your emergency fund, your RRSP, your mortgage, whatever the case is, pay yourself first, because as soon as you do that, you're automatically increasing your net worth. Even if it's by a bit, it's still something. Now, Z community, do you guys think that this is a pretty good way to determine what your target net worth should be? Let me know in the comment section down below, and let's try to talk about different formulas if you know that there's any more. But without further ado, Z community cuties, thanks for tuning in. Peace.